All right, guys, our next guest is a former UFC champion coming off a big win at UFC 200. He has hunting skills. Many people think he's the real-life Rambo. Joins us here on Submission Radio. TJ Dillashaw, welcome back to the program, man.
Oh, thanks for having me on again, man.
It's always great to have you. Now, we know that there's been some big life changes in your life. You got your first tattoo, and now you're officially inked. What was that like, man? Tell us about it.
Yeah, man. I've been wanting to get some tats for a long time. I've had some ideas for a while, but I'm actually glad that I've waited as long as I have, man. You know, I was able to afford a good artist and knew what I really wanted. So I got a whole sleeve design, but you know how it goes. You can only do piece by piece. So hopefully I'll get a little more work done here in the next month and add to it. I'm pretty excited.
Now let's talk about some of the earlier options you would have gone with if you were younger. I know I went through a few phases. I was going to get some tribal stuff. I was going to get a naked lady. I was going to get some crazy stuff. Now I look back on it all and I'm like, look, I'm just happy I didn't get anything. Did you have any crazy ideas back in the younger days that you're happy you didn't go with?
Yeah, I drew some stuff up when I was in college. I don't even remember exactly what it was, but it was definitely going to be stupid. So I'm glad I didn't do it. And there's no way I could have afforded a good artist. So I would have regretted the decision for sure. You know, I have a lot of friends that would get drunk on spring break or, you know, grad week or something, and end up getting a tattoo. And I was always glad that I wasn't one of those guys because it never turned out well, you know. But at least there's a story from it.
So what is the story? For those who haven't seen, it's of course on your Instagram. It looks like there's a clock with certain numbers sort of highlighted, and I don't know whether it's a moth or a wasp or some kind of killer butterfly, something. What's the story? What's the meaning behind this one?
The clock's not done completely, but it's the race against time with a bunch of clocks all mushed together, and just kind of like life and with my career, the race against time, trying to beat time before, you know, and then. The thing that was a moth is actually it's a hybrid of a butterfly and a bee. It's got butterfly wings, but it's a bee's body for Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. And then on the top of my arm, I got a lion with his paw out right now, and his paw is going to be on top of the globe, like he's trying to be the king of the world, man. Trying to get my belt back.
Wow.
I like it. And what's the next step? Are we going to be going for a whole sleeve here? Or are you going for the full cover?
Yeah, I'm going for a full sleeve. You know, I'll probably add a couple more butterfly bees throughout it. I got to finish the clock off. Got to finish the lion off. I'm going to add some scenery back from my hometown on my arm. I'm going to put the Roman Colosseum. I'm going to put a samurai with the Japanese sun behind him. I got some Greek mythology I'm going to put on my arm. A word that I've lived my life by, my career by, is arete, the pursuit of excellence, mentally, spiritually, physically. And just I think it kind of defines my career mainly, you know, just all aspects of life in my career.
That's a lot to fit in. Are we going to the back and the chest and the other arm, TJ?
No, man. I kind of like, instead of having like one big illustration, I kind of like more of a collage, you know, like a bunch of stuff kind of hidden into the sleeve. So there'll be a lot of it kind of mashed in there. So it's, you know, it's a little bit hidden instead of just one big illustration, like I said.
Well, you know, the Submission Radio logo, TJ, I don't know if you've seen this beast, but it would look quite nice. I'm thinking somewhere along the neck area, somewhere like that would be good, or maybe on the face. We'll send you some designs.
Where it's visible at all times, I'm sure, right?
Yep.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking just a few times, maybe like a few times throughout the sleeve, just in case people don't see it from the first angle. But look, we'll discuss that later. I want to be reasonable about this. Another huge moment that you had between the last time that we spoke to you is you had an infamous run-in with Manny the Frenchie, who has 1 million followers on Instagram, may we add. Now, you got to give us the scoop. Has fame gone to his little doggy head? Or is he a bit of a doggy diva now?
Oh, dude, he's definitely a doggy diva. He's awesome. I had 2 French bulldogs, so I've been a fan of Manny the Frenchie for a while now on Instagram. And his owner and Manny reached out to me through some of my fights, and we've become pretty close. And so I got to go out and meet him. And we're actually doing a little charity signing tour in Denver at the beginning of October. He's gonna come out and kick it in Denver. But the dog's definitely a spoiled man. He can't be left alone, and eats nothing but the best food. He's spoiled to all means.
Now, obviously, TJ, you're ranked #1 under the champ in the official UFC rankings. Got to ask you, man, the biggest thing that we want to know, have you heard anything from the UFC about you having the next title shot against Dominick Cruz, getting that rematch?
Nothing officially. Nothing's been signed. Nothing's been officially agreed upon. I heard that he won't be ready till the end of the year. He's dealing with some injuries he's got that he's got to heal up before he'll be able to fight. And so, I'm thinking that's my next fight, man. That's what I'm waiting for. The way I think it should work, the way it should be working as a sport is what happens when number one beats number two. There's nowhere for him to go but up. So I just beat Rafael Cincao. He was the number 2 ranked fighter. I was the number 1 ranked fighter underneath the champion. I think it's only fair that my next fight is for my belt.
Well, I mean, you say he's healthy by the end of the year. I mean, there's a Sacramento card, I believe, mid to early December. What about something like that?
That'd be amazing, man. Absolutely, for sure.
When you hear that Dominick Cruz is healing up from a few injuries, do you worry a little bit? Because we know he's had a rough history of injuries. He's been out for a while. We don't know exactly what those injuries are, but does a part of you worry that they may be more serious than he let on, or something else might happen, or this fight might be delayed for longer than you'd expect? Anything along those lines?
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely think about those things, and that's why I want to fight him sooner rather than later, before I don't get that chance to get my win back, get that win back that I felt I should have had. It's get my belt back and beat a guy that, he's one of the best in the world. So I want to get that opportunity to get that belt back. And yeah, it's definitely worrisome that he might never ever come back. He's had some serious injuries, was out for 4 years, and you never know when that's going to happen again. The sport that we're in, that shit can happen any day, and you got to be prepared for it.
Wow, never, ever. That's, I guess, extreme. Do you genuinely worry that he would never come back to the sport and never fight again?
Nah, just not to that point. He should be, but you never know. Someone could break their neck tomorrow in practice. You never know what's going to happen. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that I actually get my shot to fight Cruz again. I think we make a great matchup, and really, realistically, I think I'm the only one in the weight class that beats him right now.
It's an interesting and tough situation that we're sort of in at the moment, where we see guys like Wonderboy Thompson finding themselves at the top of the ladder, yet not getting that title shot guaranteed. Is it frustrating to you that on paper you should technically be fighting Cruz because you're ranked number 1, but nothing yet is really guaranteed?
Yeah, man, it's definitely frustrating. It's a crazy sport, and the UFC's allowed to do what they want because they have such a monopoly on the sport. They're able to make whatever fights they want to make. So you always got that in the back of your mind. But, after talking to him after I lost to Cruz and everyone thinking that I had won that fight, and I thought I was going to get the instant rematch, and they ended up going with Faber. I just don't see them doing that to me again. I don't see them putting me on the sidelines and not giving me that fight. I feel like it's the right thing to do, and I think they know it as well. So I think they're just trying to figure out when Cruz is going to be able to get healthy, and then we'll line that thing up.
It sounds like you're pretty sure that, you will get this next shot. Have you sort of tried calling Dana or reaching out to anyone from the UFC? Have you spoken to anybody to see what's going on? And also, why do you sort of think the company seems hesitant in giving you the title shot and just confirming it, making it official?
Well, like I said, Dom's injured. They don't even know exactly when he's going to be back, so you can't sign a contract and say, yeah, you're fighting Dominick. What if, like we were talking about, what if he doesn't come back in anytime soon? Then I do have to fight someone else. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest holdup on maybe me signing the fight right now. What was the other part? When then getting a hold of Dana and stuff, it's been a little bit difficult with them selling the company and doing the whole buyout, and seems like they've been pretty busy with finishing the whole final steps of that. So I'm looking to hear back from them here in the next few weeks and get this whole thing locked down, because trust me, I don't want to deal with all this stress of worrying about getting a fight and who I'm fighting next. So I want it done sooner rather than later.
Hey, speaking of that new company obviously owning the UFC now, do you worry that because it's firmly planted in the entertainment industry, the sport's only going to go further in that direction of super fights and top-ranked guys not getting the title shot next?
Man, I really hope not. If they start doing that, I feel like it's gonna ruin the sport. At least ruin the UFC a little bit if they can continue to do that. You always have the fans that are gonna watch the entertainment and watch that bullshit. But I got into this thing because it was a sport. I got into it because I love the competition. I love being out there man on man and seeing who the baddest guy in the world is. And not who's gonna be able to create the most drama and talk the most shit. It's more about who is the baddest man on the planet at your weight class. And I hope they don't ruin that.
I'm just wondering.
I like the days of when it was Chuck Liddell and those guys they don't have to go out and talk much shit. They go out there and prove it with their hands and go out there and knock everyone out. I feel like that's the way the sport should be. The entertainment should be the fight, not all the drama beforehand and all the fake bullshit.
I was going to say, are you a little bit disillusioned by all that? Because it definitely seems like it's heading in that direction, potentially even more so than ever. You know, you've got guys like, say, GSP and Nick Diaz, and they may be fighting for the title shot, as opposed to guys like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. You know, and then yourself, we know that you're a competitive guy, and you're all about sort of the pure sport. Are you a little bit disillusioned at the moment, you know, about it?
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I hope it doesn't happen. You know, I really don't. But that'll also make me, I think, more unique in the sport if I stick to my guns and don't break character and kind of be the aggressive professional. You know, I mean, be aggressive inside the octagon, but professional outside, and you know, build the fan base off of that, because that's the fans I'd rather have, anyways. You know, I don't want to be worrying about breaking character and having to force myself to talk crap to someone when I don't feel like it's right. You know, I mean, I don't mind like not liking someone and having some animosity, but I'm not going to go out of my way to act like a diva to get it, you know?
You might have to start throwing bottles at press conferences. But look, let's look at the division. There's a couple of guys.
That shit was funny, dude. That was so ridiculous.
Hey, it was funny to you. We were there, and Adam Hill almost had his eye taken out. Imagine that. Jake Shields threw a cup of coffee. That was wild as well. So it was like
chucking
a
water
battlefront.
bottles at each other across the press conference.
It was like the opening scene from Saving Private Ryan. People were picking up cups all over the ground and trying to figure out what's next to their life. But like, let's look at the division. There's a couple of guys pushing for the title shot as well. The first is your former opponent, John Dodson. He's taken on John Lineker on October 1st. And with a previous stoppage win over you, some people are saying he should get the next title shot if he wins. What do you think about those comments, and what would your response be to those people who are saying that?
You know, everyone's going to campaign for themselves to try to get that belt. That's the ultimate goal, you know. But when my one argument, the only argument needed is that I'm the number 1 ranked fighter in the division, and I just beat the number 2 ranked fighter in the division. That's the only argument I need. You know, there should be nothing else behind it. You know, 1 beats 2, he should fight for the belt. You know, I mean, that's the way a bracket works. That's the way seedings work. This is a real sport. Why not treat it like it?
I'm just wondering, though, if for whatever reason the UFC were for some reason going to swing that way, do you think Dodson would sort of have a chance against Cruz if they did set that up?
No, I don't think Dodson's got the cardio. I think he gets too tired. I think Demetrius has proven what he can do to Dodson. And Dodson, you know, he's got some power behind his punches, but it doesn't last very long. He's a real defensive counter puncher, and he's kind of flat-footed. He throws fast. But no, I don't think he's got a chance. You know, got to be a little more well-rounded, have a little bit better of a ground game and some wrestling to beat Dominick, and he's also got to have a better cardio. I mean, you know, Cruz is dancing around the entire fight, and he's never going to give you a chance to break. So I think Dodson would not have a chance now.
Well, your first fight between you and Dodson was back in 2011. How do you think a rematch would go if you guys had to fight each other now?
Oh, man, I'm a completely different fighter. I only had 4 fights under my belt when I fought Dodson. You know, I mean, I was strictly a wrestler coming out of college and a little overconfident as well. You know, I thought I was invincible, was running through some guys and did well on the show, and was, I think, a 3-1 favorite over Dodson, and just kind of, you know, came in a little bit. My hands weren't as good as they are now, and just came in a little too aggressive, you know, and so many things I'm able to fix and to add on to, and yeah, it would be a completely different fight. I would pick them apart in my mind.
Looking over obviously the division, the other man with a lot of momentum behind him is your former teammate Cody Garbrandt. Obviously, he's ranked 6th. It doesn't compare to your number 1, but there's a lot of trash talk and bad blood between him and Cruz that obviously brings a lot of interest to the fight. I know that you sort of say that the number 1 should get it, obviously, but he seems like your biggest competition of getting that title shot. Do you worry when you see him and Cruz going back and forth so much and fans wanting to see that matchup?
Yeah, I do actually, you know, because it's funny. So as soon as Cruz was calling out Faber and didn't want to fight me, you know, I understood whatever that happened. And then as soon as that fight was over, Cruz was talking about how he wants to do a super fight against Aldo. Well, Aldo wants McGregor, so that wasn't going to happen. Then he was saying he wanted to do a super fight against Demetrius, but Demetrius was hurt and already had a fight lined up, so he couldn't do that either. So if he couldn't run away from the weight class to not fight me, what's he going to do, jump to number 8? You know, we'd rather fight a number 8 ranked guy instead of fighting the guy he should fight. You know, I think he just doesn't want to fight me, man. He knows how tough that first fight was. He knows that I have a legitimate chance of kicking his ass, and he just doesn't want that to happen. He wants to try to make as much money as he can while he can and stay on top. But you know, I'm motivated more now than ever to get my belt back, and he knows that, man. I'm coming for it. So he's gonna do that. I think that's the biggest thing that worries me the most. He's gonna do as much trash talk as he can to try to entice people to about this Garbrandt fight, so that he can try to stay on top, because he knows he's gonna be able to pick Garbrandt apart as well too. You know, that guy's a little bit too flat-footed for Cruz. Cruz knows what he's doing. He's smart, man. He gets under people's skins. He picks the fights that he wants. You know, I mean, he just got to fight Uriah Faber, made him look like a fool, and he knew that fight was going to go that way when he should have been fighting me instead.
What do you think of Cody's recent success and run so far? Have you been impressed with what the guy's been able to do? Do you think he's done enough to get a title shot against Cruz?
He definitely shouldn't get a title shot yet. There's no way. I mean, he can get a title shot once I get my belt back, you know, and he can fight me for the belt. But no, he does not deserve the title shot yet. I mean, they're giving him matchups that are perfect for him. I was impressed with him beating Thomas Almeida the way he did, you know. But Almeida came out with the wrong game plan. I mean, Garbrandt's kind of one-dimensional, and once you know that, it's a little bit different kind of game, you know. The kid's good though. He's athletic. He hits hard. You know, I got no beef with him other than him trying to push for my belt right now. You know, I guess that's the only kind of beef I got. But yeah, he doesn't deserve a shot.
Cody spoke prior to UFC 202, and he said that he has a hit list: Cruz, yourself, then John Lineker. First off, what do you think about your name being on there? And also, why do you think you're so high on this list?
Because I'm the best in the world, man. I mean, he knows that. He knows that he's going to have to face me if he's going to want to push for that belt. He's going to have to fight me. You know, I mean, he's calling out Cruz because he's the champ, and he knows that I'm up there. You know, I mean, the way I see it is if he's going to be fighting for the belt, it's going to be against me. So I'm not surprised with me being on that list.
Sports Illustrated Mike Dice wrote a great article about Garbrandt titled The Next Bantamweight King. I'm not sure if you saw it, but how do you feel about a sentiment like that? And is part of you a bit annoyed that while you're ranked #1 and are coming off, a really good win, some people aren't really talking about Dillashaw being the future of the division? Do you feel like, some people may have forgotten a bit?
You know, man, this sport is crazy, and everyone's going to campaign for who they like and what they want. You know, this sport's insanely crazy. So I have 2 split decision losses on my record since I lost to Dodson, and whenever year that was. After my loss to Dodson, I went on a streak. I've got 2 split decision losses, once to Sensal and once to Cruz. Both I think should have went in my favor. If those fights would have been in my favor, I'd be on an 11-fight win streak right now and be on top of the world, And it's crazy how quick things can change just by some bullshit decisions by the judges and me not getting the recognition I deserve, I mean, I could be on this giant win streak and continuing it to have the longest win streak in UFC history eventually, but that's not the way it goes down. And you got to roll with the punches and continue to work hard and just be hungry. Things will work out the way they're supposed to. And I'm setting up my life outside the octagon as well and doing great things. And this isn't going to be the only thing that my life's about is fighting. And so I'm gonna ride this wave and do some great things with it. Just got to be humble along the way.
As far as Cruz and obviously his injuries, and we don't know when he'll be back, if you have to take a fight sort of in the interim, would you? And do you have a preference whether you'd be fighting, say, Garbrandt or Dodson?
No, I don't care who it is. I mean, if I'm going to take another fight, the only way I'm going to take another fight is if it is for an interim because Cruz can't come back. If Cruz is healthy, that's the only fight I want. If for some reason they're going to give up an interim belt, then yeah, I mean, I'll fight, and I don't care who it is. I mean, the thing is, I just want my belt back, man. I mean, I don't care who's in my way. I believe I'm the best in the world, so it doesn't matter who I fight to get it, really.
So let's say for some reason the UFC gives the title shot to someone else. Will you sit out and wait till you get the next title shot? Are you in the position where you just sort of fed up with everything and what's going on? You're just going to wait till you get the next title shot if someone else gets the next shot instead of you?
Yeah, it's definitely something I'm going to have to think about. I mean, I'm trying to play The Secret right now. If you guys have ever read that book, just kind of visualize that I'm getting the fight against Cruz, and that's all I can really think about right now. I got to think positively. That's what's going to happen. But, if I don't get that shot, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I might just wait for my shot back at the belt. I don't think I should be leapfrogged at all. And, like I'm saying, if this is a true sport and not the WWE, I'm the next title shot.
I want to ask you about some of your other sort of plans that you have outside of the sport that you mentioned before. But just before we do, I just want to ask you something else, CJ. There was some news obviously recently regarding Luke Rockhold's comments about how the money the UFC offering him is bullshit. He's of course referring to the fact that he went from being a champion, getting a certain level of money, and now one fight after the loss, his deal is subsequently substantially less, even though he's a former champion, one of the biggest stars in the division. In your case, it was reported that you went from having 70 to show, 70 to win, 1,000 to just earning 25 and 25. How badly did that aspect bother you, and does Rockhold have a point?
Yeah, it does got a point, man. I mean, it does suck. I do feel that we're a higher commodity than that. I think the UFC is the UFC because of the fighters, and I'm hoping they start realizing that and start paying us what we deserve. I mean, that company just sold for $4 billion. It kind of shows the value of the fighters. I mean, we make that organization. I mean, if you don't have the best fighters in the world, you don't have the best organization. So, yeah, I'm hoping it swings around, and I'm sure there's going to be more guys continue to complain, especially when you see some bigger pay cuts going out to some of these bigger names. But yeah, he's definitely got a point, man.
Yeah, because
that's why
you
you
said
got to
not
set
to
yourself up outside the octagon and not rely on the support solely. You gotta be a hard worker inside and outside the octagon, man.
Yeah, well, you said not too long ago that you had plans to talk about your contract. Have you had that talk yet? And has it been with the new owners by any chance?
So that's what's been the holdup is letting them finish up their deal with the whole buyout. So I'm just kind of waiting on that and hoping for the best, man. Just going to continue to grind and stay motivated, and hopefully good things happen.
Well, obviously you're being positive at the moment. It sounds like you're sort of setting yourself up outside of the UFC, outside of fighting. Can you talk about some of those things? Because it sounds like you've got something cooking up.
Yeah, I mean, I got some big things right now in the works that I'm hoping that pan out. I'm not going to go out and say them before they happen because I don't want to give starts talking about shit that doesn't happen. But things I do have already. I got a woodworking company that I started up with my brother-in-law and some friends back home. It's Murphy's Woodworks. We sell custom furniture and wood slab tables and some pretty cool stuff. It was a hobby that's turned into a business. That's pretty cool. It's a fun thing to be behind. I've teamed up with my nutritionist, Perfecting Athletes. These ladies are amazing, and I've realized the difference they've done with me and been able to not only help me with my weight, but help me with my hormone levels through my diet and just how smart they are with their medicine. And I've teamed up with them to get back involved with the wrestling community and help out with California USA Wrestling, which is also helping us pushing to starting some charities and traveling around and start helping out some vets and some youth that are the underprivileged youth. And hopefully you're going to be getting a grant from the government to be able to do more work like that, be able to do some more charity work, which it pays off, but it also makes you feel good to be able to give back to lower income companies and also people that have served our country. I'm really big into wanting to help out any kind of veterans, current and past. Anything I could do to help boost their morale, show them how to eat and train like a professional athlete, and just kind of show them the appreciation I feel that they deserve. And so that's another big thing I got going on right now. And then a couple other big things in the works I'm hoping pan out. And if they do, then yeah, I'll be sitting pretty.
Well, there's going to be some exciting stuff now. TJ, we really appreciate the time. But before we let you go, what's the message? Cruz and Cody have had their time to sort of speak in the spotlight recently. Do you have any messages for Dominick Cruz, your fans, the UFC, anybody listening right now? What's your message to them?
I guess my main message is just to the MMA fans. Don't let Cruz fool you by trying to talk shit to Garbrandt because he's trying to push for an easier fight for himself. Let's look at this as a true sport. Let's get the baddest man on the planet to fight. See who the best fighter is. Me and Cruz had a great fight, very close. Obviously I thought I won that fight, but it was a very good close fight. And let's see you actually just give me that chance to prove that I won that fight.
Well, there you go, guys. There he is, TJ Dillashaw. Make sure to follow him on Twitter and Instagram at TJ Dillashaw. A lot of interesting stuff, and also we see you working on a new logo, TJ, so make sure to go down, check out that logo, give your thoughts to TJ, and help him obviously finalize the design. We look forward to seeing what happens next, TJ. Thank you so much for your time. We always appreciate it.
Always, guys. Always a good time to be on the show.